All right, finally, here's our last match of the league. Looks like a decent opener. We've got just about everything we need for our combo except for the most important piece, that being Devoted Druid. We've got Stirring Wildwood, Wooded Foothills, which is plenty of land to power out everything we've got here. We're one short of Collected Company, so I think we should be able to buy enough time to dig into that. Death Squatch Recruiter gives us something to do in the meantime. As I've always said with this deck, Vizier of Remedies is really kind of like a dead card for the most part. It's just a bear in most situations, and purely is here as a combo piece. So that's not very exciting, but knowing that I have it gives us one less piece to find for our combo. So I do want to get that birds out as soon as possible, but that makes it a little risky. If he does bolt it and we don't draw another land, we're not going to have a second mana available for one of our 2-drops, and he does exactly that. He just bolted. And we don't draw a land, so look at that. So we are going to pass the turn without playing a 2-drop, which is kind of tough. And we are on another Jeskai deck, alright, Serum Visions, and he's got Bolt or Path mana untapped. And ouch, not another land. This time, though, I know we're not going to get Spell Snared, so I'm going to put my favorite creature down, Death Squatch Recruiter. And I'm not too afraid of Path. In fact, Path would give me a much-needed land at this point. And he already played a Bolt, so it is another Bolt. Shoot! Alright, well, hopefully we can draw a third land on this next turn, otherwise we're in trouble. Alright, good. Windswept Heath. So, let's start with a Vizier of Remedies, see if we can bait out a counter spell or a removal spell. He's got a remand for me. Okay, not too bad. And a Windswept Heath comes into play. I couldn't risk playing the Tireless Tracker into removal or counter there because it's just too valuable of a creature in this particular situation. So, Windswept Heath, I'm going to grab a Temple Garden into play tapped. You might make the argument that a basic land is totally plausible in that case, like maybe a Plains, because I want to be Blood Moon proof, which this deck does a pretty good job of doing. And so I would say that's probably a mistake on my part. Now, draw an Eternal Witness. That seems like a fine play. I'm going to grab another land with that guy. And if not, I'm going to draw another counterspell out of his hand. Ojutai's Command. Interesting. No creature target for him, so that's not terrible. But I do pass another turn and miss a land drop. Alright, Thoughtscar himself. Still not a creature target in his graveyard. But I get a Ghost Quarter now. So I can Collected Company. And I'm going to try it right now. And the reason I'm doing that is because he's got one Scalding Tarn in play, and he's really low on blue sources. So if his plan was to like Snapcast or Spell Pierce, he couldn't do that. He doesn't have Cryptic Mana or anything. So I've got a Fiend Hunter and a Knight of the Reliquary, not the most exciting Collected Company. Knight of the Reliquary is certainly a good choice, but Fiend Hunter does almost nothing right now except for it's an attacker. So I'm definitely not going to exile my own Knight of the Reliquary. Hopefully this knight will survive for a little while. Oh, and he does a turn there at least. Alright, so, Court of Calling, more gas. I could save my creatures so I can power out a big cord, but I think I want to start applying pressure because he's going a little slow right now. So we're going to attack for 5. And we got a Snapcaster and an Ojutai's Command. Okay, interesting choice. I wonder if that was a mistake. If he wanted to bolt my guy or thought he could bolt my knight. He could pair a bolt and a snap for the knight. Okay. So hopefully he can tap out for this knight. Ojutai's Command. Oh, he's got a young Pyromancer. Okay, so he wants the young Pyromancer back. Kind of broadcast that play, especially since he didn't block with a snap anyway. Interesting. So now I'm clear to Collected Company, and I'm going to do exactly that. So we got Birds of Paradise, Kasali Pridemage, Vizier of Remedies, and Courser. Okay, so I think we want... Well, we definitely want Courser. That goes really well with Knight of the Reliquary. But I think maybe we just ought to play it safe and stay aggressive with Kasali Pridemage at this point. Alright, Eternal Witness on top of the library. That's pretty awesome. Alright. Oh, would have liked to see a land there. If we can somehow get one of these cords off, we might be able to shuffle our deck and find a land on top, but I don't know if this is the time to do that. So we're just going to attack with a 2-4 because he's exalted. And he's going to trade with the Snapcaster. I will take that gladly. Let's try a Vizier. Okay. I know that Vizier is not that great right now. I mean, I do have a Chord to get a Devoted Druid. I know that in most cases, my opponent can do just about anything to kill that Vizier. But I'm hoping to just kind of instigate some removal with that guy. And that's exactly what's happening. Ojutai's Command, Snapcaster Mage, Lightning Bolt. And we're going to Chord here because he's just about tapped out. So anything short of a Spell Pierce or a Dispel will not be enough to deal with this Spellskite that I'm going to put on the battlefield. Alright, so Spellskite's going to redirect that Bolt, and I'm going to be a happy camper about that. Alright, he's got 1 mana untapped, and that's going to be used for another Bolt. Alright, we're going to redirect that to the Spellskite. We're going to pretend like this Vizier really matters to us at this point. See if we can bait out another removal spell on the same Vizier. And we do. Alright, cool. So, he does have a ton of chump blockers going on over there. Down to 3 cards in hand. Inevitably, one of them is another Ojutai's Command or Cryptic Command. Let's fetch a land here and get a fetch land. Sacrifice that, gain some life, get some pumps going on with Knight of the Reliquary. And Courser is going to get us some life. We've got a Horizon Canopy on top. I wish this wasn't so damn big. And let's see here. Alright, so Vizier on top. Okay. Interesting. Let's try Tireless Tracker. Oh, we let that resolve. Interesting. Alright, land drop, land fall. Alright, so here's what I'm thinking at this point. We've got a clue. We can get that Vizier with the clue. Because we are, like, going to Combo Town. It seems like my opponent doesn't have a whole lot of interaction. If he had a way to counter my spell, he probably would have countered that Tireless Tracker. I have assembled the Trifecta at this point. This is, like, the best value engine in the deck. So, what I'm thinking is I need to draw into that Vizier. I can tap 2 to do that. I've got mana to Chord out the Devoted Druid at the end of his turn. And at least apply some pressure on him so that he commits some resources to stopping that combo, and then I can take advantage of him there and just go to town with Eternal Witness and another Chord after that. So we're going to pass the turn knowing that that's the plan. I can also get 1 activation out of Knight of the Reliquary out of that without too much trouble. So he'll probably do nothing, and he does. So end of turn, let's start with our draw from the clue. Get that Vizier in hand. And this is actually timed out well, so the combo is actually relevant now because I want the Devoted Druid in play before I play the Vizier, obviously. We're going to get that Wooded Foothills, search out a forest, trigger, all that landfall. Look at that stuff. And we're going to grab X equals 2 for Devoted Druid. What do you got for me, bud? Remand, okay. So that counter spell leaves him pretty well untapped at this point. Alright, land on top of the deck. We're going to put that Plains into play. Tireless Tracker, Courser, Crufix, more clues, more life. Not upset about that whatsoever. Let's get Eternal Witness going. And how about some more value? Collected Company. Can't stop this train. I've got mana to Collected Company and Court of Calling. Alright, cool. So he concedes. He recognizes that. So there's game 1. Obviously, we go to 3 games, so surprise, surprise, I'm going to lose this one. But let's see how I do. Alright, so kind of an interesting deck. It's not your typical Jeskai control deck. The young Pyromancer does prove to be a problem for my my mid-range, as those tokens do chump block my Knight of the Reliquaries and friends pretty well. Alright, this hand, whoa, slow down. Alright, this hand looks pretty good. Obviously, I kept it. And the reason I did so was because I've got 2 like really good cards against him in Spellskite and Tireless Tracker on curve at that. And then I've got lands that do stuff. So Gavony Township is pretty great against him. Tech Edge is fine against him. So it's not just like a hand with a bunch of lands. It's a hand with a bunch of like utility lands. So I recognize that, and I'm going to go with it. So we're going to hope for the best here. We did draw another land, unfortunately. So at the end of his turn, we'll fetch, and we draw another land. It is a Gavony. Maybe one day we'll be activating 2 Gavonies in a turn. Young Pyromancer early. Okay, he's got 1 mana untapped for a really obvious removal spell, but maybe we can bait out a path here, or a bolt, and redirect that to Spellskite. And Path is actually the best case scenario because we can redirect to Spellskite and then we can trigger Landfall with Tireless Tracker, which we like to do all the time. And we're getting closer to Gavony mana. He does have a Lightning Helix for our friend Tireless Tracker. And let's see if we can't get something out of that clue. Alright, Burnt and Forge Tender is okay. It at least trades with the Pyromancer. And I think we want to get the creatures on the table because the plan is to Gavony in this game, and maybe just outclass these elementals eventually. So we have to have creatures to do that. Okay, no whammies. Oh my gosh, another freaking land. Brutal. So we're going to destroy his Steam Vents now so we can see if we can get through the Cryptic mana before we have to cast a spell in the second main. And there's the Cryptic right now. So we're going to tap down creatures and he's going to draw a card. Oh no, he's going to bounce. He bounces Steam Vents that I tried to destroy. So he must be low on lands. He really is committed to that. And we're going to sacrifice. It's a good thing for him that I didn't have a Collected Company. And just a handful of lands. Yeah, we're getting aggressive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're taking it. Alright, so we've got enough to... Ooh, Knight of the Reliquary is not a bad draw. That 4 mana screams Ojutai's Command to me, and I don't want anything to do with that. So let's just pass the turn and go on the Gavony Township plan. That sucks. Okay, Path. Can't Selfless Spirit that guy. Lightning Helix, alright. Oh, and I totally blew it there. I should have sacrificed the Selfless Spirit. That was very dumb of me. I don't think this matters in the end, but obviously giving him the 3 life that he gains off of that is not ideal, and I certainly want to give my Birds of Paradise indestructible until end of turn. Alright, I can't afford to chump the young Pyromancer, so I'm glad he didn't attack with it, but the fact that he didn't attack with it makes me think that he has no answer to Collected Company because he fears the Collected Company. If he had a Cryptic Command and he attacked with everything, he'd be Cryptic Commanding my Collected Company and just totally nulling that and getting in with the young Pyromancer. So that gives me some information there. So I'm going to block this, and I'm going to at least eat one of his tokens. I don't think he was really concerned about me eating his young Pyromancer. He's got enough tokens to just destroy me. It's kind of last-ditch effort here. We're going to see if we can resolve this guy. We do have enough mana for a Collected Company after that. Gross. Okay. So now that he's got just 1 mana untapped and it's not blue, we're going to see if we can't get some value going. Fiend Hunter and Voice of Resurgence. Not a bad one. I think we might be able to pull this out if he doesn't have a Cryptic. And that's a Cryptic. That'll kill me. So that's how I lose that one. Alright, and then on to the last game, very last game of the whole league. By the way, at this point I am 3 and... Excuse me, I'm 2 and 2. 2 and 2 in this league. So this is my chance to break even with this guy. Alright, what are we looking at? Not a terrible hand. Opening hand, Voice of Resurgence. I've said this before. I think we had this in the last match. Not a bad thing against a control deck. We've got plenty of mana to just naturally get into Collected Company without having to rely on a mana dork. And Knight of the Reliquary curves pretty well into that. So we're going to really be taxing his counter spells in this game. And hopefully one of these things sticks. Alright, taps his Steam Vents, so we're in the clear. Voice of Resurgence is resolving. I feel like that card always eats a Spell Snare. Okay, Jace Vryn's Prodigy. I haven't seen that from this guy yet. Let's see what we can do here. We're definitely attacking. And I think we want to get this Knight online. No reason not to, right? Okay, now one line of play here is assuming that Bolt is a pretty big piece of his deck. we could have waited until next turn to play the Knight, and we could have gone Wooded Foothills and then Windswept Heath and made him a 4/4 coming into play so that he's bolt proof. That would have given us the option to do Eternal Witness, grab the Wooded Foothills, but I think that we made the right decision in the long run there. Alright, so we're going to try to go for this Collected Company right now while he's got just 1 mana left so that we can see if we can coax out a Dispel when we have Voice ready. That's a pretty poor Collected Company. Vizier of Remedies, not very good. Alright. 6 cards in hand versus my 3. And he goes for my Vizier of Remedies. He's afraid of the combo. Paths my Vizier. I guess that's the benefit. Drawing attention away from my voice. Knight of the Reliquary is a good draw. Okay, we've got mana for Knight and for E-Witness. That's pretty sweet. So let's see if we can play both of those cards. I don't know any 1 mana spell that can counter a 3 mana creature in Modern. So we're in the clear for both of those guys as far as I know. Collected Company for some more gas. Certainly not attacking with the 0/2 Voice of Resurgence. He's going to eat a path, sadly, as Voice of Resurgence often does. Alright, so here's the deal. We've got some pretty aggressive creatures on the table, and we've also got a Gavany. He knows we've got a Collected Company in hand, and I think he's got to play pretty conservatively to prevent that Collected Company from killing him. So we're just going to go and really milk this Gavany Township plan as much as possible. So let's send both creatures in at the Jace, because if he's able to path one of them, we've got a backup plan. We want to kill that Jace. We're just going to go and make sure that we've got control of this board here. If he paths the Knight, I've got Gavany to pump up the Eternal Witness and kill the Jace. So this leaves him with kind of a tough decision, because he's certainly got some kind of answer spell in his hand with 4 mana untapped. But I'm not going to give him the opportunity to counter anything I do. So, except for birds, of course. We definitely want to get birds on the table before we start the Gavany. So we're going to blow off this Coco for a long time. Or at least just leave the option open. If he taps out, I'll take advantage of it. But right now, we're just going to Gavany as much as possible. So that's a lot of damage. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Puts him within 1 strike here. He's got nothing for us. Alright, Scavenging Ooze. Does this resolve? That'd help us out quite a bit. Snapcaster. What's he going to do? Lightning Bolt. Interesting. Lightning Bolt can kill my E-Witness and at least slow me down a little bit, but that certainly doesn't help him too much. Scavenging Ooze can outlive the Lightning Bolt because I got 2 creatures in the yard. Yeah, so he's going to kill the E-Witness. This should be game over. Yeah, it is. He recognizes that too. Awesome. So, must have drawn poorly at the end there, but we took advantage of that stumble and still had plenty of gas in our hand with Chord and Collected Company. So, I guess my thoughts on this are we saw a couple of control decks in this particular league, and I think that the matchup is not terrible for us. Specifically with this type of build, we've got a lot of cards that can really shine in the control matchup, whereas the more combo focused and combo oriented version can really be pinpoint removed to leave you with Viscera Seers and Vizier of Remedies to just try to attack in with. And that seems like this clock goes a lot faster when I'm attacking with 5/5s and things like that versus Viscera Seer and Vizier of Remedies alone. So I think I'd like to have that opportunity to get aggressive with some creatures that really demand removal spells, and that also leaves fewer removal spells for my combo piece if I do so choose to do that. But as you saw, I didn't combo much against these decks, and they seem to spend a lot of time focusing their resources on my combo pieces and left me open for things like, Knight of the Reliquary, Tireless Tracker, Courser of Crufix to just take advantage of the game. So by the time I was ready to cast those guys, if they had a Cryptic Command, it was a different story, but they didn't have a ton of stuff left in their deck or in their hand to really deal with those threats. And even if a turn goes by with Knight of the Reliquary or Tireless Tracker, you can take some advantage of those guys. So they're going to have to dig for those answers right away. I don't know. I like the deck. I think it's got a place in Modern, and I think specifically this green white version is going to stick around for a little while. So if you're at all doubting it, give it a shot, and I'm a believer. So, anyways, thanks for watching.